Hey, my beautiful bitches. It's me again, Fiona St. James, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Fiona's Coffee Talks. Thanks again for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. And as per usual, I love to start every morning with a beautiful hot cup of black coffee. Hold the cream! I'd love to. In my favorite coffee mug, with my favorite quote of all times by Oscar Wilde. Life is too important to be taken seriously. As I always said, lighten up, people, because newsflash, we're all going to die. So, in today's episode, what I want to talk about is a play that I saw recently, which was probably one of the most amazing and dramatic plays ever, called The Inheritance. Oh my God, so I don't even know where to begin with this. Apart from the fact that it was the most moving, the most emotional, the most inspiring thing I've ever seen, it just hit on so many different topics that I related to, with different aspects of all the different characters' lives that I related to. It was a two-part event that I went with my dear friend, Greg. Hey, Wolfie, who was sweet enough to take me as his guest. And it was a two-night event. Each night was about 3.5 hours. And I don't think I have ever in my life been so moved and cried my butt off the entire time for both nights. 3.5 hours. Imagine sitting there and you're an emotional wreck because, you know, it dealt with current day characters, but, you know, it relived everything that happened way back when with like people dying of AIDS, and all of the characters were gay. So, you know, I related to that, to everything on so many different levels. And what's the word I want to use? It really dove into like the different dynamics of relationships and failed relationships, and, you know, boyfriends that were not getting along, and, you know, monogamy versus open relationships, or like people dealing with HIV, people dying, you know, which I'm 55 years old, so at the time when AIDS first hit, you know, a lot of my friends from that time are no longer around, and I guess I was fortunate or unfortunate, whichever way you want to look at it, that the majority of the friends that I had back then that did unfortunately pass away, at the time of their passing, they weren't in my everyday life like they had been at previous points. So then I would always hear after the fact that it's someone that I knew who, you know, wasn't in my everyday life anymore passed away. So to a certain degree, it almost made it a little easier. You know, you felt sad, but it's a lot harder to lose someone when you're seeing them, you know, deteriorate and pass away like so many did back then. So this play, it kind of brought me back there and kind of made me realize that a lot of times when that happened, like I would be sad and I would mourn, but it was, I didn't have like a good, real heavy cry, let's put it that way. So suddenly when I was sitting there in the theater watching this and watching these characters experience that and talk about all of that, oh my God, I mean, there were times that I just couldn't even stop crying. Even if something dramatic wasn't necessarily happening, just experiencing what they were going through just brought me to tears that, frankly, I've always said that I was always kind of afraid to like really cry fully, because then, God forbid, you know, maybe you won't be able to stop. And I came like close to that night where suddenly I was like, oh my God, like even after the show ended, I was walking to the train and for blocks, I was still crying. I was on the subway train getting home and I could not stop crying. So, but it made me realize a lot of things. I mean, apart from the fact that it made me realize what I just said, it was also, you know, it brought up a lot of fears, like even just the fear of doing what I'm doing right now, you know, doing this YouTube channel and, you know, putting yourself out there to be judged and be vulnerable and, you know, let people judge you, really. Think they're gonna like what you have to say or not. So it did make me realize that, oh, you know what, I've always wanted to do this, so what am I so afraid of? You know, I'm the one that always says, newsflash, we're gonna die anyway, so that play to me, just like, you know, it made me realize a lot. It also made me realize that, you know, you really shouldn't be afraid of anything, because then you're gonna get in your own way. So on so many different levels, it made me aware of things. It made me so much more self-aware of myself and how, you know, sometimes as human beings, we get in our own way of doing what we really want to do. And then it was really quite ironic. About a week after that, it was a two-part play. So I went on October 4th and the 11th. The second night was actually the opening night, the premiere of part 2 and previews, which is kind of great. So we got this cute little bag. Yay! I think that's quite lovely. But then right after that, I had a massage client who was an actor as well, who was a Broadway actor. And I've been a proud member of Screen Actors Guild in Africa for 25 years. P.S. I was on Oz for 6 years. I think I forgot to mention that my last video. But anyway, so this client that I had, we were talking and he was great. And it turns out he's good friends with the person that actually wrote this play. And I was telling him all of my experience with it and how it moved me and how it was really this play that finally made me say, what am I afraid of? Do this. And it was that night that I was like, I seriously need to do my YouTube channel. And I was telling him all of that, and it was such an amazing connection that he and I had, and a lovely interaction, and because he's friends with the playwright, he was like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell him, you know, what you just told me, and you know, how his friend actually did inspire me quite a bit. So again, this play, I recommend it. See it. Be prepared to cry your butt off, because, you know, I don't see how you can't, unless if you're an evolved human being with feelings, there's no way that you're going to see this and not have a reaction to it. But it's well acted, it's dramatic, it's exquisite. I would see it again in a heartbeat. 3.5 hours, 2 nights, it's long. There was an intermission and a little pause, but so worth every minute that I was there. So anyway, that is my 2 cents on this. I kind of compare it to Angels in America in terms of like the subject matter and, you know, how it was as long as it was. But this one, to me, I saw Angels in America as well, but this one moved me that much more. And I don't know if it's because it was current day and the characters were like 20 years younger than me, but talking about stuff that happened back then when I was their age. So all of that, just the combination of everything with it was everything for me. So, oh, excuse me. I'm getting a little verklempt here talking about it. And I'm not gonna cry, because God knows I did enough crying those 2 nights to last me a lifetime. So check it out, The Inheritance on Broadway. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Remember, Fiona's Coffee Talk, subscribe, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Love you.